Hi, welcome to the end of year video, complete with explosion noises from the outside. I'll be trying to code this thing. Hopefully it works out. Let's get started. We're going to have a scene first off. So section, scene, and within it we're going to have a rotor. And there was this, I suppose we can call it challenge circulating recently, name all HTML tags. And I gave it a try. I got about half of them and then just gave up. But the best way to learn this shit is to actually use it. So what we'll be using here is delete year. And within it, another less used HTML element, which is time, and needs the date time attribute, which is weird because you basically end up setting this twice, but you can do it in different formats. So I guess that explains it. So yeah. And once we delete year 2020, we insert year 2021. Okay, delete year 2020, insert year 2021. I guess that works. Makes even sense logically. Okay, now for the base CSS, we'll be doing pretty much the same as I do for every demo. So on the body element, on all its descendants, on pseudo elements, before, after, explosions, display grid, and we're going to set everything so that it occupies the grid area at the intersection between the first row and the first column. And just so that we can see everything, we're going to set box shadow. We'll be deleting this later, but for now we're going to have it just so that we see the boundaries of everything. And let's bump up the font size because that really bothers me that it's so small. We'll make it depend on the viewport, right? So it's going to have a line height of 1. Something like this, right? Okay. Now, the next thing that we're going to want is here. We're going to set a dimension, let's say something like 3ems. And basically we're going to set here grid template. We're going to have one cell of D by D dimensions. So that's going to be the row size and the column size. And we're also going to set place content center. This only places the content in the middle of the viewport horizontally, but the body, as you can see, the height is the height of its content. So yeah, we need to explicitly set its height to the full viewport height, which is going to create a scroll bar because we have that margin outside the body. So let's get rid of that margin as well. So margin 0. Since we're on the body, let's also set a background. Let's say something like this, right? And on the year elements, we're first going to set text decoration none. Then the next thing, these are the delete and insert elements. We're going to set a switch custom property, which is going to be 0 on the delete. And then we're going to switch it to 1 on the insert. So insert, k is going to become 1. And here we'll be computing a not k, which is calc 1 minus k. So if k is 0, not k is 1, and if k is 1, not k is 0. And here we'll be setting transform, rotate, and here we'll be having a calc k times 180 degrees, which is exactly the same thing as half a turn. So half a turn, 180 degrees, same thing. Then we'll be having background. This is going to be an HSL value, and the hue and saturation don't matter because this is going to be either white or black. And in that case, if the lightness is 100%, then we have white regardless of the hue or saturation values. And if the lightness is 0%, then it's black regardless of hue and saturation values. So this is going to be k times 100%, okay, and then we're going to have something super similar, which is going to be color and this is going to be not K. The only thing is that they cover each other, so on the rotor element, we're going to have such that there are grid template rows, 2 rows, so 1 row and a second row, and this transform is going to be relative to the middle of the bottom edge. So that's transform origin 50%, 100%. So this is going to give us the result we wanted. Okay, let's okay, those are the right colors. Okay, so for some reason, let's see, what's wrong with 2020 yet again? So for some reason, let's see. So the background is black as it should be. Oh, yeah, I have 3 dashes there. That's the problem. That's what's wrong with 2020 yet again. Now for the time element, we're going to set place self at the end vertically and in the middle horizontally. And one thing I never knew how to do, and I just had no idea how to do this except for some magic numbers or something, is how to align the bottom edge of those letters with the edge of the element. Because theoretically, that bottom line is at the bottom as it gets. But in practice, you can see it's not really. So Amelia came up with a solution, and I don't even really understand it. So I'm just going to copy paste stuff and tweak it and hopefully not break it in the process. So before and after, and of course they need to have a content because otherwise nothing's going to show up if they don't have a content. And then we're also going to take this stuff from here. Okay, we're going to set height to 100%, right? And I think we need to explicitly set a height here. So height half that dimension, right? And this aligns everything properly. And we want a bit of spacing there, so we're going to add padding, something like that. Okay, much nicer. Okay, so now that we've done this, we can start and add some animation. Keyframes, rotate around the z-axis. So we're going to go up to 50%, and we're going to have transform rotate half a turn. And then we're going to go up to 100%, and we're going to rotate by 1 turn. And let's set an animation duration, let's say something like 4 seconds. So here we'll be having animation, rotate around the z-axis, that animation duration. Let's make this an ease in, infinite. So yeah, this is starting to look like something, but you see we have those corners there while it's rotating, they're not getting covered. So we need to increase the size of our rotor. So make it width 150%, height 150%, right? And let's also set place self center, and on the scene, on its parent, let's set overflow hidden. Okay, and this looks nice, and I think now we can just get rid of that part. So yeah, and we're going to have a before right here, before, and we're going to set background crimson, let's say, content nothing, and on the rotor we'll be setting mix blend mode screen. Okay, so yeah, this is starting to look like something, and then we'll be getting a very similar animation, so something like this, except this is going to be a move animation, and this is going to be 0%, 100%. This is going to be a transform translate Y, and this is going to be 1 pixel. This one's going to look more like this. Okay, and this is something that I'll be using here on the time. So animation, move, that animation duration is in infinite, and we're going to want an animation delay, and this is going to be calc k times minus half of t. So, and of course we need to set overflow hidden, right? So it's starting to look like something, but you see here it gets blobby when it goes down. Okay, so we want to make it blobby when it goes down. So keyframes blob, we're going to have 100%, filter, blur, let's say 13 pixels, contrast 39. So here we're going to have a second animation. So we're going to have blob, animation duration half a t, ease out, infinite, alternate. Oh, and it doesn't work because we need to set background inherit. Now it's going to work. As you can see, it's getting blobby as it's going down, which is good. But one more thing I want to show you. Here there's also a shadow. But the problem is if we apply this contrast filter, we can't keep that shadow. So we need to sadly duplicate this stuff. So we're going to take the insert and delete, and we're going to duplicate them. And we don't want real duplication, so we're going to have, well, we don't want duplication for screen readers. That's what I meant. Aria hidden true. Okay. And we're actually going to use this as a styling hook. Okay. So we're going to set I to 1 right here, and we're going to have not I is calc of 1 minus I, and as I said, we'll be using that as a styling hook right here, and we'll be setting I to 0. And of course we want this blobby animation to be applied only for the elements that are not hidden. So that's going to be calc I times that. And here we'll be using an HSLA in both cases. So that's going to be HSLA and I, and then we'll be having a text shadow, text shadow 0, 0. This is going to be the blur, and it's going to be calc not I times 19 pixels, and we're going to have the same thing as the color with without that alpha. So okay, so it's just going to be HSL, not HSLA. And to make it show, we're going to need to add mix blend mode, something like this. Okay, so yeah, this is getting super close to what we wanted, and I think I'm going to keep it like this for the most part. Yeah, let's say we're going to add a border radius 5 pixels somewhere here. Okay, this completely breaks it, and I've seen this happen before, and I have no idea why. I still have no idea why. If you know why this happens, let me know. But we're going to try a workaround, and that's going to be a clip path inset. There's always more than one way to do things, so if one way is breakable, then you just do it another way. So around 5 pixels, and of course this causes the problem that we cannot set a box shadow here, so we need to set here a filter, drop shadow 2 pixels, 2 pixels, 5 pixels, and let's say RGBA black with an alpha of 0.5, something like that. We have a shadow right now. Okay, I'm guessing that works. Something else you can do here is set filter contrast 0.85, something like this. Okay, that looks nice. Now, one more thing we could do here would be to replace that background color with a gradient, for example, something like this. But before we do that, to lowercase, okay. Yeah, I don't like capitals in hex values. It's just personal preference, but whatever. 90 degrees, like this, and we're going to have a gradient there, so something like this. Or maybe you liked crimson better. I don't think crimson look bad, but I'm just going to leave it like this. Might just so let's say here we're going to have percentage 9%, and in the animation right here we could do something like this. So copy this, and here we're going to have minus, so something like this, right? And we can do something similar right here as well. So, and of course can take something here and add it in front. So here is going to be just double. Let's see it. Okay, you see we have those shadows showing up. So let's increase this by a bit. How big was that shadow? We need to add calc. Oops. something like this. Let's see it now. What's the problem? Okay, too many parentheses. Okay, so now you don't see the shadow anymore. So yeah, that's good. And I'll just leave it at this. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you like the work that I've been putting out for more than 8 years now, please consider supporting it to help me continue and stay afloat. You can do so by being a cool cat and becoming a patron on Patreon. The links are going to be in the description. Or you can get me something off my Amazon wishlist. Again, the links are going to be in the description. Or you can at least share this to show the world what can be done with CSS these days. Because honestly, I think it's pretty damn cool. In any event, thanks for watching. Happy New Year. Happy whatever you're celebrating. Happy whatever you're not celebrating. And I'll see you next time in the next year. Bye.